George Paton has added a very familiar name to the Broncos staff, one that you may remember for when Sean Payton got hired. Plus, we learned he's actually worked alongside Sean Payton. Welcome into your Denver Sports Daily for June 20th. Let's go.
Taking you through your morning headlines, it's Denver Sports Daily with Rachel Vigil.
Former Stanford head coach David Shaw, one of college's most respected coaches during his tenure at the school from 2011 to 2022, has been hired by Broncos general manager George Paton as a senior personal executive, a source told 9 News. When Shaw stepped down from Stanford, he expressed a desire to return to the NFL, where he spent nearly a decade as an assistant coach. Now, Shaw and Sean Payton have worked together as a rising offensive assistants with the Eagles back in 1997. It's a second notable addition Payton has made to his personnel staff this offseason, with Shaw following the hiring of VP of Player Personnel Cody Rager in January. Shaw, who gives the Broncos an experienced and fresh set of eyes to evaluate both college and pro personnel. He also interviewed for the Broncos head coaching job in 2023 and has stayed in touch with Payton over the last year. So there it is. Like I said, familiar with Sean Payton, which is good, but also he interviewed for Sean Payton's job back in 2023. We'll see what he's able to add. Wanting to get back into the NFL, I think it's actually a really good move over there by George Paton. So huge shout out to them. One of the best defensive players from spring football over the last 2 years has signed a 3-year, $2.83 million deal with the Denver Broncos, according to 9 News' insider Mike Kliss. Dandre Tillman is leading the now three-time reigning champion Birmingham Stallions, where PFP has graded him as a 90 in 2023, and then as the league's top defensive player in 2024 at 93 in the regular season. In the championship game, they gave him a 91.1 for his 3 tackles and 6 quarterback hurries as the Stallions sped out to an easy title-clinching win. His agent goes on to say he's a 3-4 outside linebacker with pass rush skills, which is Marty McGigg, who also reps Broncos tight end Lucas Kroll. So I like this. I know we talked about them not being too happy at the linebacker position. We saw them bring in 2 different linebackers. I think this is going to be a good move. Personally, during OTAs and minicamp, it's too hard to judge the linebackers a ton because you're not seeing them put too much pressure. Like, the line collapse is pretty easy. We're not seeing a ton from them. So whatever Sean Payton clearly saw from many of the film and up close and personal was definitely interesting. But again, I feel like I wasn't able to dive too deep into what I saw out there at OTAs and minicamp when it came to the linebacker. So now I'm really excited to see the competition when we get out there in January for training camp. The Colorado Rockies defeated the Los Angeles Dodgers 7-6 in a walk-off victory on Wednesday. The game-winning run was scored by Jake Cave on a sacrifice fly by Brenton Doyle in the 9th inning. This win came after a series of events, including a key error by the Dodgers' Cavan Biggio in the 7th inning and a pitching change to Johan Ramirez, who failed to prevent the Rockies from scoring the winning run. The victory was particularly notable as it involved Jake Cave, who had a significant interaction with umpire Lance Barksdale the previous night. So let's get into Tuesday night now, because the Colorado Rockies both blew it and were robbed, losing 11-9 by the Dodgers. The Rockies bullpen allowed 7 runs in the 9th. You heard me say that correct. 7 runs in the 9th on a pitch hit Jason Hayward grand slam and a 3-run home run. And yet Colorado probably should have been celebrating a win. And no, it's not because they blew another huge lead in the 9th, but because a pitch before, Toscar Hernandez took Victor Vodnik for a Dodgers lead. The LA hitter swung at a pitch, but was bailed out by a check swing call by Lance Barksdale, the ump from the night before, right? I talked about him. Even up a run and down to the final strike. Bud Black knew it was a big call and was promptly ejected from the game for yelling some things you probably know you shouldn't be yelling. A pitch later, the Dodgers led 11-9, and a ticked off Jake Cave needed to be separated from Barksdale between innings, and then even after the game went final. So there's been a lot happening down at Coors Field apparently, but a walk-off homer, that's what we love to be able to see at the end of a game. So we ended on a good note. But yeah, a lot of drama is happening over there at Coors Field. The Colorado Rapids earned all 3 points on the road against St. Louis City FC at City Park on Wednesday night. A Georgie Mihalovich hat trick lifted his side to victory from help from a dominant performance from the back line and goalkeeper Zach Steffen to record the club's second consecutive match with a clean sheet. Colorado Rapids, we need to start paying attention to them. Yes, the past few years they have struggled immensely and there hasn't been a whole lot to talk about. Right now, they're technically in the playoff rotation. They're 8-7-4. They have 28 points. St. Louis FC is not a great team by any means. They only have 18 points. But the Colorado Rockies are starting to make a lot of moves, and we're seeing some really good things from some new players over there. They're goaltending for sure. So just start to keep your eye a little bit on there because you might be able to go out to a playoff game, which would be really fun here come this fall. So start paying attention to Colorado Rapids. I promise I will also be keeping you up to date on all of those things as well. The Edmonton Oilers and Connor McDavid aren't going down without a fight, though. Holy smokes, we have to talk about this. The other day, I counted them out. I said it's probably going to end in Florida. They're getting back on a plane now. So after falling behind 3-0 in the Stanley Cup Finals, the Oilers have narrowed it down to a 3-2 series after an impressive 5-3 win over the Panthers in Game 5 on Tuesday. McDavid had 2 goals and 2 assists, becoming the first player in Finals history to have back-to-back 4-point games. Overall, he has 42 points in the playoffs, just 5 short of Wayne Gretzky's postseason record of 47. The series heads back to Edmonton. They're going to travel the 2,100 miles it is to get back from Florida to Edmonton for Game 6 on Friday. Whew, I can't wait for that game. It's going to be so much fun. It's going to be intense down there in Edmonton. You may have heard that the Chiefs Super Bowl rings contain a $40,000 typo, but Travis Kelce isn't worried about it at all. Kelce and his brother Jason Kelce discussed the rings on the latest episode of their New Heights podcast. The interior of the rings lists the Chiefs' opponents and their seeding in last year's playoffs, and mistakenly lists the Dolphins as the number 7 seed instead of the number 6 seed. When Jason asked Travis if he was going to get the error fixed, Kelce replied, "I don't give a bleep. Does anybody care? If anything, Travis thinks the mistakes make the rings more unique and exclusive, and I'm not going to lie, I kind of think so as well. Yes, does it suck? But obviously, whoever was making the rings, everybody that reviewed the rings, it's not like it's just a one-person thing. Nobody thought about the fact that they were a number 6 seed and not a number 7 seed. So at the end of the day, does it really care? Plus, if you're looking at those rings, you're definitely looking at just all of the diamonds and the rubies, and you're looking at the world champions, not who you were playing against. So personally, I don't think you should care either. I'm kind of like Travis with the I don't give a bleep about it. That's for sure as well. Now, lawmakers in Kansas have approved a plan to lure the Chiefs and the Royals across the state line. They're like, come on over, everybody. The measure would authorize state bonds to help finance new stadiums for both teams on the Kansas side of the Kansas City metro area. So you can see where Arrowhead Stadium is, and then you can see where the state line is between Kansas and Missouri. So they are barely on the Missouri side. I think it's so fascinating, everything that happens down there in Kansas City, because it's obviously Kansas City, but then it's Kansas City, Missouri. So they can move probably 20 miles or something to the east, then they will be heading over to the Kansas City side of things. But earlier this year, KC voters in Missouri rejected a bill to fund a new downtown Royal Stadium and $800 million renovation to Arrowhead Stadium with a sales tax increase. But Kansas Governor Laura Kelly said the state has the opportunity to become a professional sports powerhouse, and that they in fact do. I think it would be kind of crazy to see it move over to the Kansas side just because it's always been in the Missouri side. But again, it's so close. The line literally cuts through downtown. It would be like here in the Mile High City, if Aurora was a part of Nebraska or Kansas or anything like that. That's how close it actually is. So I do think it's going to be interesting if they switch on over. My fiance is from Kansas, so he's like, I would personally love this instead of it being over on the Missouri side. But then I'm like, it would no longer be Arrowhead Stadium, right? They'd have to get a new name or something. So I don't know. We'll find out what ends up happening. But yeah, could possibly be on the move. Bronny James is one of the most intriguing prospects in this year's NBA draft, but it sounds like most teams are having a hard time getting a close look at him. ESPN's Jonathan Giovanni says the son of LeBron James has been turning down workouts for most NBA teams. They cannot get Bronny James into their building. He says his agent, Rich Paul, who also represents LeBron, is turning down workouts from all but a handful of teams. Giovanni expects Bron to end up with either the Lakers, no shock, or the Phoenix Suns. So interesting. Personally, I don't love that for Bronny James. I'm like, go work out with anybody. Like, what if the Suns end up not like wanting to get him? And again, we've talked about this so many times. I feel like it really just gets me fired up. Like, why would you want a team to draft you all because of your dad? Like, I just don't get it. Like, go out there and prove to whoever it's going to be, whether you're going to go work out for the Denver Nuggets or the Golden State Warriors or the Dallas Mavericks, like whoever it's going to be, go do the full experience and then figure out who's going to draft you. Don't just be like, oh, I'm either going to go to the Lakers or the Suns. And the fact that the NBA has really allowed this to even happen because of LeBron, that's a whole other discussion, but it's kind of frustrating. I'm not going to lie. So I guess we'll see. The NBA draft's going to be here quite literally before we know it. Everybody buckle up. It's going to happen next week, but we'll see if he ends up with the Lakers or the Suns or some other team's just going to say, you know what, we're going to take you regardless and see what happens. I was wrong a few days ago when I talked about Al Horford hanging it up because I was like, he won his championship. He was in his 17th year. I'm sure he's going to be done. No. He has no plans of hanging it up after winning his first career NBA title. The Celtics big man will return for his 18th NBA season in the fall, according to the Celtics owner. Horford played 186 playoff games before winning his first title, just seven shy of the NBA record held by Karl Malone. He's set to make $9.5 million next year under his Celtics contract. Los Angeles Sparks rookie Cameron Brink is out for the rest of the season with a torn ACL. Brink was also selected to be a part of the U.S. women's 3x3 team for the Paris Olympics, the forward shared on Instagram. You never think it will happen to you, but despite all the hard work, sometimes it does. This is hard to fathom, and I know it will only make me stronger. I will not be derailed and will continue to love this life. I'm not defined by basketball, but it is something that I love deeply, and I will work every day to get back to it. It's not goodbye basketball. It's just a see you later. I'm always so thankful for your thought and prayers. This actually comes as, I mean, first of all, devastating to have any sort of injury like that come across. It was hard. I can't even fathom what emotions she's going through. But I feel like a lot of people have actually really gotten to know and love Cameron Brink's name. Even myself, I caught myself when I saw the headline. I was like, whoa, like, did not expect to see this at all. So it's just kind of one of those huge bummers where we talk about the Angel Reeses, the Caitlin Clarks. I feel like Cameron Brink is also in that conversation where she's actually a household name for a lot of people getting into women's basketball. So such a huge bummer. We obviously send our hearts and prayers out to her as she recovers from this ACL, and we can't wait to see her back out there on the court very, very soon. The Detroit Pistons are considering JJRE as a potential candidate for their head coaching position. He was obviously being linked to the Lakers, so there was the speculation about Redick's potential Lakers or the potential interest in the Lakers, but now there's speculation about he has more interest in the Pistons job over the Lakers, as it could provide a better opportunity for him to develop as a coach and connect with the players. That's interesting to me for sure. So some fans and analysts express skepticism due to Redick's lack of coaching experience, while others believe he could be a good fit for the team's young core. The Lakers are also considering Monty Williams for their head coaching position. We will end up seeing what happens. I feel like it's been a long time since we've seen a change over there with the Lakers. I'm like, been a couple months now at this point, or I guess, well, it's middle of June. It's probably been a month and it just feels like a little bit longer, but usually I feel like that Lakers gig, it gets filled really, really quickly. But some older players on that team, I'm sure they have quite a say in it. If you're a head coach and you're a young one like JJRE could be, would you want to go over there? I don't know. It'll be interesting. I'm going to be curious to see if he ends up picking the Pistons over the Lakers, or if the Lakers even offer him the job. If it just goes to Monty Williams, we're going to see. There's going to be a lot of different interesting things to pay attention to when it's down there in Los Angeles with the Lakers and both the Pistons. And of course, all the stuff with the Denver Nuggets as well. So we'll check out some of your guys' comments, of course. Let's see. Love Kroll's initiative to attend the tight end university to make every effort to be in the best in his position. I do too. Lucas Kroll has looked fantastic over at OTAs and minicamp. If you do not know what the tight end university is, George Kittle, Travis Kelce, and somebody else, he's blanking my head right now, they host a tight ends university essentially where they get everybody in the NFL that plays the position tight end to go out there, and you can all work together and do different things, connect, all that kind of stuff. So I think it's a really cool opportunity, and I'm really glad Lucas Kroll is going out there. again, it's just one of those things where, like, if you can connect and learn from some of the guys that are the best, why not take that opportunity? And I think it's going to be really good. Lucas Kroll, I have a feeling, is going to be a big part of the Denver Broncos this year. So it's going to be really fun to see what he is able to do. But you guys, that's going to do it. I'm not going to lie to you. I had like quite a crazy morning because we're going to get a little personal real quick. So last night, having a little like hard time falling asleep, probably because I slept in too late yesterday with us having the day off for Juneteenth. But I ended up taking a little bit of melatonin, and you guys, right now, I feel like I should still be asleep. So I'm glad you guys were hanging out. Thank you for the comments. Thanks for just chilling with me for a little bit of time. Will Peterson and I are going to be on coffee break today, though. It's going to be a really good conversation about how much do we trust George Paton right now. We're seeing him make a lot of moves. We're seeing him bring in some other people too. But are we still skeptical about what he is going to do? So make sure you come hang out with us. It's going to be a great conversation. You guys know how I feel about George Paton, but maybe, just maybe, I've started to believe a little bit more in the GM of the Denver Broncos. Come hang out. Tell me how you feel about it. And we'll see you guys at 12 p.m. Bye, everybody.